Okay, so rattling through, now we have labour. Okay, so here we are. That's my candidate. Doesn't really tell you a lot of information on this. All it says is a strong economic foundation, high level standards for working families. Don't they all say working families? An NHS with the time to care, controls on immigration. Again, nothing we can do about EU immigrants. Let's not beat around the bush on this one. A country of the next generation can do better than the last. That's education. Okay. Yeah, that's all they say on that. Okay. Then we have Labour Today. A better plan for working families. Again, it's like putting in your CV, works well in a team, works well on my own or in a team. Doesn't mean anything, everybody's saying exactly the same thing. Okay, so Labour kickstarts an election campaign. There's a plan to save our NHS. There's controls on immigration. We don't have any. I'm not anti-EU, but let's be honest about this. We don't have any while we're in the EU. So yeah, shut up talking about it. There's Ed Miliband laughing with some. No, I'm going to show pictures. I'm showing pictures from the others. Look, Ed Miliband laughing with some overweight old person with a pushchair caddy thing. I'm not sure what it's about. Is that somebody disabled? No, somebody disabled. Just some random person. I loved your film, The Wrong Trousers. Oh, it's not you, sorry. Yes, anyway. Enough of the personal tax. Oh, look! Dun, dun, dun. Nigel wants to scrap our free NHS. Hey, look, Nigel Farage does. Let's think that's another video. But moving on. Yeah, with Blair there'll be an extra 1,000 extra border. There'll be 1,000 extra border staff. Okay, a strong economic foundation will balance the books and collect deficit every year while securing the future of the NHS. None of our manifesto commitments require additional borrowing. Pulling over your roots there. High standards of living, we'll freeze energy price bills, blah blah. And that's a separate topic. Yeah, doesn't really tell you an awful lot on there. This is just a lot of how great are we going to be, but without actually giving you any real information. I'm going to do a video at some point, I suppose, on the manifestos, just so I can keep in touch myself with what's going on, because I will read them. Mostly but silly. Okay, Labour Today. Oh, another Labour Today. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. Sallie's pledge to work for all the people to improve healthcare. Juggling work and home life. Sally Keeble's coming to working parents. Let's get Sally back working for us here. A personal message to you from Sally Keeble. Dear friend. Don't call me friend. I'm not you. I'm not your friend. Okay. 3 generations of Hughes are supporting Sally Keeble. Wow. That's to be sold. I know how important the early years are for our children's future. Why we're voting for Sally Keeble. I own small business in Kingsford, and I'm backing Sally because I know she supports small business and will take up our concerns with government. My pledges are exactly the pledges that were on the last ones, freezing energy price bills, and a special pledge to support health services and pensions. So basically the same as the last one, and lots of information about it, really what we want to do. Oh look, I have another one. The battle is really hotting up in Northampton between Labour and Conservative. As you can tell. This is a confusing one. Hard-working families taking action to build a stronger society, strong and all using working closely with the police and police community support officers. Saving the NHS, care hospital and at home. Sally holds local talks on immigration. Let's be clear here, Northampton has a lot of immigration. We have a lot of immigration, we really do. And it's massively beneficial. And I'll say this as somebody who likes to eat, obviously, but also likes to eat because I like eating tasty food. I can now go down the shop, I can buy a load of cured meats. It won't be good vegetarians, screw you, I don't care. Load of cured meats from Poland, from other parts of Europe, and as well from the Indian subcontinent. You know what? There's fantastic options in Northampton. You can save a fortune and you can support local businesses at the same time by going, you know what, I'm going to buy these sausages from here. And guess what? They have sausages that have got much less processed food, crap ingredients than we produce in our own country. If they're bringing those goods over here, I want more. I want more. Would you like to know more? That's an early video. Okay, so here we are. And lots of random people who are retired professionals, businessman. That businessman is the same person as from the last flyer. I think that counts again, does it? You don't double count, do you? Oh, sorry, you're politicians. You always double count. Yeah. A whole spiel down there of why we should vote for him. Exciting. The choice. Dun dun dun. Okay. So the Tory plan is failing, which it is. Let's be honest, it is failing. Otherwise, we'd have no deficit now. We'd have no debt now. Sorry. and the deficit will be down. As it is, the debt isn't down. Deficit's down, yay, well done. The fact that Tories don't know the difference between deficit and the debt should be worrying. They also don't understand maths, but I'll leave that for a minute. Okay, Labour has a better plan for a better future. I'm convinced. Oh, and this is where we go down to negative politics again. Everything next to the Tories, we've got a cross in it. And everything in the Labour, a tick in it. They will balance the books, whereas Tories have left us with the slowest recovery in 100 years. Tories have borrowed 200 billion more than they planned. Cut the deficit, and the Labour will cut the deficit every year, while securing the future of the NHS, higher living standards for working families, raising minimum wage to £8, and ban exploitative 0 hours contracts. The Tories have let energy bills rocket by £300. They have left working people £1,600 worse off on average, and they are going to freeze energy bills. They will recruit more nurses and more GPs. They will guarantee GP within 48 hours. Within 48 hours. I'll keep my mind open about that option. Tories have caused the worst A&E crisis on record. I've been to A&E a couple of times actually, not for me, for someone else, but yeah, and it was horrendous, to be fair. Left waiting list at the highest for 6 years. I can't comment on that really. They're going to control immigration. No Tories have failed to meet their net migration target, which they can't in the EU. They have failed to relieve immigration, and fewer foreign criminals have been deported. They will stop people coming here from claiming benefits for at least 2 years. That should set alarm bells off ringing, really, to be honest. If you're pro-immigration, you don't want them coming over here and having no money, because that means they'll have to do something else to get their money. That will actually increase black market work, the exploitation of foreigners, the fact that they can't get hold of any money at all. Well, most of them come over here and then claim benefits anyway. My wife works for the benefit service. They don't come in and claim benefits. They never have done, because they're known to be good workers. Sorry, English workers. Sorry, British workers. Sorry, British workers. But most of them must move to England, so therefore English workers. But you have a bad reputation for being lazy bastards, whereas they don't. Stop employers undercutting wages by exploiting workers. Those two things are diametrically opposed. You do not stop exploitation from undercutting wages by giving people no source of income. If they're offered a job for £5 an hour, they will take that job if the option is to have nothing else otherwise. Okay. Sorry about that. Probably just popped in my face. And then finally, next generation. They will reduce tuition fees to 6,000, which means that's the equivalent of them doubling them from the last election. The Tories and the Dems tripled them. They will bring it back down to merely doubled. Not really a selling point, I've got to be honest. If you're looking at if you're a student or you're looking to become a student, what you really want to do is not have tuition fees, or at least leave them as they were. The Tories have trebled tuition fees, whereas Labour will only double them. Yay! Again, Tory right. They have left 700,000 young people out of work, whereas they will guarantee an apprenticeship for every school leaver who gets to basic grades. How are you going to guarantee an apprenticeship for people without spending? And then we have people who are pro them. Some guy called Ben, who's a doctor, but apparently he's got a picture from, I don't know, South America? That's him there. Sorry, that's him there. Where is he? Can't really see it in the background of the video, but that's a massive green forest with a big rock sticking out of it. Could be anywhere. Probably not England though, is it? Sounds dramatic, this election will affect the rest of my life. They will back my generation by reducing tuition fees and guaranteeing apprenticeship. She's 19 at the point that this photo is apparently allegedly taken. Don't think they will. They're going to increase your debt, just not as much as the Tories. But increasing your debt isn't good. And the Tories only stand up for a few powerful people, which is true. Labour will work for working families. Will work for working families. For me, that's the choice at this election. They also do working for working families. How can you trust Labour any more than the Conservatives? And then finally, we have one more thing. This is a personal letter to my wife, of all people. Dear Rachel Watts, the facts you need to know. Higher living standards for working families, cultural legislation better than last, any chance of time to care, the same 20,000 more nurses and 8,000 more doctors. Labour's pledges to you, strong economic foundation. Fact! The Tories have given people with an income of over 150,000 a £3 billion tax break, while everyone else pays more. That's what the Tories do. No, we should be surprised that they're giving tax breaks to people who are loaded. That's what they always do. Come on. Rising prices and stagnation wages mean working people on average $1,600 a year, worse off under the Tories. Full fact actually states that this is true on average over the 5-year period though. It's better now, but economics bounces back because it's a cycle. It recovers regardless of what the government do. If the government come in and they cut spending the way the Conservatives have, and they cut it to the fucking bone, the economy will recover in a few years anyway. If they didn't do it, the economy will recover. The economy will always recover because it's a circular path. A lot of people think that the boom and bust feature of capitalism is a problem. It's not a flaw. It's a feature of the system. Once you understand that it's a feature, you can learn to plan against that. Not to say it's not a bad feature, because it can be a bad feature, depending on how much money you've got and how much you're willing to capitalise on other people's misery, I suppose. There's courses in A&E, they have foreign immigration, and they have treble university tuition fees. Labour will merely double them. Notice how they don't ever say they're doubling it. They say they're reducing it to 6,000, which is double what it used to be. So they are doubling it. Let's be clear here. They're doubling it, right? Okay. So that's that. If you want to be dragged to another war or two against the population's wishes, then you vote Labour. That seems to be it, really. Labour have pulled away a lot from their social infrastructure owned by government to support commerce idea, which what they were in the 80s. A lot of people still vote for Labour because they think Labour are the same as they were 20 years ago. They're not. In fact, they're not the same they were 30 years ago. My family are massive Labour voters. They voted Labour all their entire life. They are a generic, stereotypical working class family who vote Labour because Labour are on their side. The fact that Labour's policies have completely changed from what they used to be has completely missed that. They're utterly unaware that that's happened. And even though I've said to them, look, they're not what they used to be. They're not the neo-Kinnock Labour. They're not 70s Labour. They're not 60s Labour. They are conservative light. They are, I mean, I was not saying that they're exactly the same, because that always annoys when people make anti-factual statements like that. But they are. Every single part of their plan is, look, we're slightly better than the Tories on this. And I especially hate the fact they've said, we're going to stick to the Conservative spending budget. If you're sticking to the Conservative spending budget, why would we vote for you and not just vote Conservative? Why? You're not selling it to me to vote you because you'll stick to the same plan they're going to do. If you're sticking to the same plan they're going to do, I'd just vote them, which I wouldn't anyway. Not with them as they are. Now, let's just make one thing clear. If in 5 years' time, Conservatives manage to find a conscience amongst their collective MPs, maybe if you crushed all of their MPs and candidates together and you squeeze them out, you might have one or two candidates who actually have a conscience between them. And then, that would be like, they came out with some decent policies that didn't say we're going to demonise lots of people in order to benefit a minority of people, then I might vote for them. I'm not going to say I would never ever vote Conservative, because that's just narrow-minded, exactly the same as saying I would always vote Labour or any other political party, but I'm going to stick to the main two because they're the ones who are most likely to be in driving seat. So yeah, that's that. Labour, bit of a random waffle, and obviously finishing with a meme. Where's that fucking stop button? There it is. Meme!